What an introduction.
Oh, hey, Queen.
Hey, you look so good.
Oh, they told me neutral, so I went for it.
I love those curtains. Is
Oh,
that a
thank
couple steps
you.
that?
I have a bulk fabric discount supplier, so I can make it look like I'm always somewhere different when I'm just trapped in the same room.
Fantastic.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, so fantastic. Congrats on all the amazing news in your
Thank
life and
you.
your career. You are truly like continue to just soar into the skies.
Well, such a pleasure to talk to you, who you are making just as big of waves in incredible ways, and I am such a fan of yours. And I was
Thank
telling
you.
you earlier, like literally everyone in my life, my best friend, my sister, my co-stars on Supergirl were all texting me like, "Oh my God, you're talking to Sasha Velour."
You make me blush too much. I've already have enough blush on, but thank you so much. Well, listen, we're gonna talk to each other, answer some questions, talk about love and responsible love and respect. And if you who are all watching want to submit your questions, we already have 45. We will not be getting to all of those questions, but we will select just a few and answer them at the end. But first, I want to kick things off by asking you, Melissa, tell me a little bit about Valentine's Day, because 'tis the season. I want to know, did you do anything special? Do you have any traditions?
You know what? I guess our traditions, my husband and I mostly we would go out to eat and have like a feast at our favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
I way wherever we were, which obviously that was not happening this year, but we ordered in this delicious like handmade homemade Italian pasta from this place. I'm in Vancouver, from this place in Vancouver, and just like pigged out on carbs and wine.
Oh, that sounds so good. Did you do
Yeah.
anything to make it restaurant style, or
We
was it just
we had candelabra, so we literally
there you go. All about
fantastic.
the drama.
Yeah. What
We
about
uh we skipped Valentine's Day. We've actually spent too much money on restaurants, so we're like not allowed. We've done too much takeout. But we still lit the candles and ate some avocado toast in style.
so romantic?
I kind of wax on endlessly about responsible love, but I'm dying to know what that means to you. I was reading your beautiful post about your family and your partnership, but tell me a little bit more about love in your life.
Oh man. I mean, listen, I think that you can't, I know we've all heard everyone say this, but you can't love anyone else responsibly unless you're loving yourself responsibly. So something that, and that's not something that I've always known. It really took me into my adult life to really learn how to do that. That is a hard practice. So I think loving responsibly really starts with self-love and being nice to yourself and recognizing how imperfect everyone is. And when you start from there and branch out just from your heart, I don't think you can go wrong even when things aren't pretty, because they're not gonna be all, it's not gonna be pretty all the time, even though we want it to be. Um,
I
so
love that.
I think that's really where the baseline is for me. And, this year's been so hard, the past year, and really it just like getting to the basics of love, like just being present in it. That's, I think, also loving responsibly to me, like letting yourself live in each moment.
Yeah. My partner and I were talking about how much like being flexible has been part of it. It's like we truly
Totally.
could not predict really anything, and just like really being able to be present, like you say, listen to each other's needs, which are just as unpredictable as what's going on,
Yeah.
and then like respond. Um, however that works. How do you find time for how do you like make self-love a part of how have you made that a part of your routine if you have one?
It's been hard lately because I have a 6-month old. So,
Yeah.
I'm really judicial with my time, but that makes the time that I have to myself so precious. So, I meditate, I I journal, um,
Mm,
I take the time to really sit down and have a conversation about anything but like parenting and work with my husband, you know, something that we're passionate about, whether it's like a movie or art or something we're thinking about, that's where I feel like I find that self-love and loving myself respectfully. And just like having the mantras of, you know, believing in myself. And if I'm saying something mean to myself in my head, which I tend to do, I don't know if you do that too.
Oh, yes.
Okay. We're so hard on ourselves, and I have to like check my tone. I have to like
Right.
check my tone all the time with the way that I'm talking to myself inside my head. So, and then I have to do that subsequently with everyone around me too.
Right. Yeah, I remember thinking like the way that Gollum talks to themselves is actually like a healthy practice we all need to adopt. You know, you do sometimes have to reason from the different emotional places that we're in.
I love that
So.
drop Lord of the Rings reference.
Exactly.
All the way to my heart.
Okay, lost my space. Oh, yes. Do you think words and actions are important when practicing loving respectfully? And what do you watch out for? I guess that's words and actions in addition to just intentions, maybe.
Right.
And how do you watch out for like the effect that words and actions can have?
I mean, I think it's everything. It's everything. And I've been in relationships where it didn't work with words and actions, and you know, it was really unhealthy and not great and toxic. And what I think I've learned now is that it does matter how you present when you, even when you have an issue with someone you love, and they're, you want to have an argument, the way you approach it, and like the avenues you take, that's everything. And the tone you set for how a conversation can go when there are problems, or when you need to talk about love, or when you need to work through something you're going through. It's all about how you approach them with your words and your actions. And you have to come from a place of respecting that they're a human just trying to work, just trying to get through every day, just like you are.
Yeah.
There's always so much under the surface, and there's always so much going on within ourselves day after day that, you know, it's just impossible to know everything about the people you love.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
listen,
so like not making assumptions and just
yes,
coming with compassion.
coming with what you
Compassion.
feel, and like knowing how you're dealing with what you feel, because you can't control what someone else is feeling or what they do, you know. So you can only control not letting things escalate, or not letting things get to a disrespectful place.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And in my partnership, we've been discovering like the closer we get, the more important it is that we don't think we're the same person and think that our emotions are always going to be the same. Like recognizing, you know, I might be really freaked out about this, but he might not, and so we need to bring different and balanced energies to the moment.
Totally. Especially now, because we're all cooped up together. And even in that, like, even when we're all together all the time, 24/7, in our household, in our little boxes, like, there's still, we live such different lives in here.
That's right. Thank goodness, because these boxes are not enough.
Beautiful, but
Can't trap us.
yeah.
If you are just tuning in, I am Sasha Vloor, and I am sitting with super talented Melissa Benoist, and we are talking about love.
You know, just a small thing.
I think those were the questions. I've seen so many people ask about baby Huxley. Give us the update.
That is a love in my life that is just pure and unadulterated. Like, there's just nothing complicated about that, which I love. That he's just my whole heart.
I know exactly what you mean because I have a dog. I'm just kidding.
Do you have a whippet?
He's a very large Italian greyhound.
Oh, cute. But that is also
No baby.
what they are, our children.
I certainly treat him like one. Has that been a big change for you, would you say?
Totally.
And during this ideal time to raise a child? I don't
I
know.
still, there are pros and cons. It's weird because he's literally barely met any other human, and never seen his doctor without a mask on. But
Whoa.
so I don't know how that's
Be
going to
like
manifest.
terrified of a mouth.
um,
Love that.
but you know, it's I would never change the time that I've had with him now.
Yeah.
That's precious.
Oh,
It's my turn to ask you questions.
let's do it.
Let's do it. I want to ask you some questions about love. Do you find that sometimes, like if you're going through a challenging time or a hard time in your life where you're feeling irritated and impatient, that your communication with your loved ones is affected? And do you have any tips that you may have to improve this?
Oh my gosh. Still learning the
Yeah.
tips. I I definitely I always like, especially with my partner, I cannot put on like a fake front at all. And I often, I always try to show up, even if I'm really overwhelmed by something or stressed out, try to show up really calm. People tell me I seem mostly quite calm on the inside. Do not feel that way. And my partner can see it. So one thing that we've learned is like how to make things more manageable is kind of like you said, I have to be able to step away and process things. Our relationship is stronger when I can be independent with my with the various crises that life throws at you, and stuff like doing drag. I paint myself, transform myself into this whole other person. That makes me feel like I can face anything. And I think that's brought strength to our relationship. And he has his own my partner Johnny has his own rituals of strengthening. He'll go off and he'll dance and do a high kick, and he feels like $1,000,000. I wish I could do those things, but I'll watch
We
him do
all, we all.
that. We get our tensions out in different ways, for sure.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Even when I'm trying to process through something, my husband he's very good at his mind, I guess, is quicker than mine in conversations, I guess, but he knows exactly what to say
Yeah,
when he has the thoughts, and I just can't do that. I have to step away and process and come back to things that
that's
are
right. Yeah.
especially when I'm going through a rough time or feeling impatient, which I'm a very impatient person. So
I love that you can have a relationship between someone who like maybe processes more externally and
yeah,
someone who needs to go pull away. It's like it is a balancing act, but
yeah.
I love that you and your husband are nailing it. And then you'll see how your kid turns out, and that'll be a
We'll see.
whole a whole nother
Yeah,
thing.
it'll be a brand new person to add to the mix. Here's my next question. Do you feel that respecting your loved one is just as important as loving them? And how things show up differently in your relationship?
That's a tough one because sometimes I don't know what I think about like the idea of respect, and I've felt like sometimes I've heard it used in kind of a tricky way where I feel like people talk about wanting to receive respect, which sometimes means like wanting to be treated in a better way than they want to treat other people.
Mm,
And I'm like, so respect is canceled in this house, but I think it's supposed to mean something else, like the idea of seeing all human people as deserving respect, not because of who they are or what they've done, but just like by virtue of being a human in this community, in this world.
yeah,
And so it's like it's not because of anything. It's just that like that respect that everyone has to receive. So that to me, I'm like, okay, that's just as important as love for sure. It's a prerequisite to loving properly, is seeing them as deserving of respect in that way. So that's kind of my thought.
I love that. And I completely agree with you that everyone is deserving of love. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And here we've done 20 minutes, so we're actually out of time. But let me go through these questions really quick and see if I can. Okay, people want to know about Huxley. Okay, this could be interesting. Let me see. How about this one from McKay Klein? Says, do you have any advice about dealing with traumas and not letting them affect you? I think that's a big question.
It's a big question and I'm glad you picked that one. That's interesting. Um, I would say in my experience, I don't let them define me.
Hmm.
And I recognize that they're a part of my journey, but and there's gratitude there for whatever traumas I've been through that have shaped who I am, not definitive of who I am. You know, so you walk through life holding yourself with pride that you've been through what you've been through and survived whatever traumas you survived. But, you know, don't let them define and just always recognize that. What
I'm
about
like
you?
literally writing this down. It's that you're grateful for the way they've shaped you, but
Yes.
it's not in a definitive way.
Yes.
I think that is so beautiful. And maybe it's not about not letting them affect you.
Yeah, I mean, you have to let them affect you. That's how you work through
Yeah.
it. And even
Oh,
if you traumas that you get triggered by even years later, you have to go through that
yeah.
and not be afraid of it. That's self-love.
Yeah. And you don't know yourself separate from all your experiences. So there's no point spending time wondering what if, really.
Yeah, totally.
This is like my first question. Search, let me
I
see.
don't even know how you're doing it. I'm very impressed. I mean,
I went on my dog's Finsta earlier to test to make sure I knew what the buttons meant.
your dog has a Finsta?
I shouldn't have announced that. Okay. Ooh, this is kind of cute. Oh, let me see. How do you bring love into your friendships in a world that values romantic love?
Hmm. I
How do you
mean,
bring love into your friendship? Like having friendships that fill you with that same feeling as that one close relationship. For me, it's probably about like also thinking about friendships in that same way, about being open to change,
hmm
transformation, um, not losing yourself and your friends and seeing that
yeah,
they're separate.
yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
Also, just with the times we're living in, like communication is key.
Yeah. How have you balanced that during these times?
I don't know. Some days it feels like all I've done is zoomed with family and friends. And by the end of the day, you're like, oh, I can't look at a screen anymore. But you're doing it because,
Yeah.
you know, you have to keep those bonds. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I'm balancing it. I don't know if I am. And sometimes you know, I don't check in on my friends as much as I should.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess it's just reminding myself that I should and you know, getting my phone out and just texting them randomly that I love them.
Mm, I love that. I was looking up a list of like things to do that will just like make you feel better. And one of them is sending an encouraging message to someone that you love. And it's like that's so true. You
Yeah.
think that something that you can do for yourself is give love to other people. It really it makes you feel better too.
Totally.
Well, I think we are out of time, actually. This has been so nice chatting with you. Such a privilege, truly.
Likewise.
I and everyone in these comments is just mesmerized by your wisdom, your beautiful smile, your incredibly exciting projects ahead. I do want to say that you should head to absolute.com/US/love responsibly, where there's more conversations about these ideas of love and friendship and respect. And also, you can tune in next Friday because they're doing another in the series of fabulous conversations between people. That's February 26th. Thank you so much,
Thank
Melissa.
you. Thank you so much. I've loved talking to you, and I am as mesmerized by you. You're just fantastic.
The feeling is so mutual. Love to you. Love to everyone out there. Love to Absolute. Take care of yourselves. We need you. Mwah.
Bye, everyone.